How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Flame, and we are back with another FPL deadline stream here on Twitch. And it's a big dilemma today. Is it time for hit and hope just before the wild card, or should we just kind of roll out the team one more time and hope that we don't get massively beat up by, him and other Chelsea assets? Because as it stands, I only have just Mendy, basically, because Rudiger's out for the West Ham game, could be out for the Man United game too. So we might have some surgery to do. I might have a little bit of fun with this one. So we'll explore those options. I have a new table, actually, that I've created. So we'll check that out as well. And it'll kind of give more context to our players, our captaincy table. And we'll take a look at the tables as we normally do. And I'm going to do my transfers live on stream. I didn't do them last night. I saw a couple of Chelsea players went up, a couple of players went down. So we'll take a look at that and see what we can do with the team, basically. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right. So just taking a look at something really quick here. Okay. How's it going? I was glad that you could join us. Also, I forgot to shout out Fantasy Football Scout because they have a fantastic members area, but we'll share the screen as we normally do at the end of the stream. Forgot to do that because we have more pressing matters. So, hopefully, we can manage through this because I really want a wild card. But I want to pull the wild card button the second the game is available again after it's reset the team. And bring in some nice players for Gameweek 35. So a lot of thinking to do on that as well. So next deadline stream could be really, really hectic. So that'd be very, very interesting to see how that one goes down. But hopefully we get we should get the Man City versus Wolves news when that game's going to be. And that'll kind of clear some things up. We assume that it's going to go into Game Week 36 based on the way Pep talked about in his press conference. Basically, he was asked about how are you going to keep all the players motivated to win the title or something along those lines. And basically he said, we know that if we don't win every game, we don't win the title. If we do win every game, we do win the title. And he goes, and when you have a few games coming up, Leeds, Wolves, West Ham, in that order, which would have, if he would have said Leeds, West Ham, Wolves, then that would have been, a different order. But he said in the Premier League, if you have Leeds, Wolves, West Ham, that he said Wolves before West Ham, which would imply that Wolves would be in double game week 36. Because Wolves can't be before West Ham if those fixtures are in order, because West Ham can't have the fixture midweek in 37 if Wolves is on the weekend, because West Ham, if they do make it to the Europa League final, that game would be played in that midweek in 37. So yeah, I have a dilemma. James and Gelhardt or Alonso and João Pedro will need it for the bench boost. I think you would have to go Alonso and João Pedro, because I don't think Gelhardt's a very good bench boostable or reliable bench boostable player. João Pedro seems like he's going to get some minutes, seemingly. If you can potentially get the funds, I would see if you can stretch it to Pukki, because he's going to be more reliable. Or Dennis, probably, but Pukki would probably be your safest bet. If you could potentially get a slightly bit extra, maybe Nketiah is probably better than João Pedro, maybe, because I think he should keep his place today. Now, whether he's going to keep his place for 36, I don't know. Um, but Alonso and João Pedro right now would be better if you're looking at the bench boost. If you're doing it this week, I mean, I wouldn't be doing it this week, but yeah. Could roll a transfer in 35 and sell Havertz and Gelhardt to Dennis and Saka in 36. Oh, so you already have Havertz in. What would the rest of the team look like if you basically rolled it? So if you did the sell Havertz and Dennis in 36, what would the rest of the team look like for the bench boost? Like, what would the full team look? What would the full team look like be going into game week 35 if you did the James and Gelhardt move? That's what I'd be asking, because then you can see like the whole picture. But in theory, that seems quite good because you already have Havertz in place. You would be getting James in. Gelhardt would only be temporary, and then Dennis and Saka would be. I mean, that's what I'm potentially looking at on my wild card in 35. So that would be interesting to see the whole team. Yeah. So you currently have Schmeichel and Foster, Cancelo, Trent, James, Robertson, Laporte, KDB, Mount, Salah, Havertz, Dewsbury Hall, and Nketiah, Gelhardt, and Greenwood. Okay, so currently you have potentially 3 strikers that are just dead, right? And Nketiah might lose his place to Lacazette. If we had to put bets on it now, it seems like he's okay for the time being. So in 36, you could do. You said you would do Havertz down to Saka, which would be around like $1 million saved. You could then go up from. So you must have a little bit of extra money in the bank to be able to do Gelhardt up to Dennis. Is there any extra money to potentially do Greenwood to Pookie? Because then apart from that, that would be perfect, I think, or as near perfect as possible. Because you would have Nketiah, Pookie, and Dennis. Or even Greenwood to João Pedro as well. Because you don't really want to bench. Yes, they have a double. But the likelihood is Gelhardt and Greenwood aren't going to start either of the games. They might not even come on. So that's what I would be concerned about. Or if you did, so you said you could go Havertz to Saka. If you went down even further, so let's say if you wanted to go somebody a bit, as safe but slightly more money available to make the bench boost better, you could go Havertz to Odegaard. And then you would have more money to do like Gelhardt to Pookie, Greenwood to Dennis, and that's probably a bit more secure than bench boosting a Gelhardt or a Greenwood. Yes, you would have the slightly worse option, in my opinion, in Odegaard versus Saka, but I think both Odegaard and Saka have they're going to play probably the same number of minutes for the most part. Odegaard might get subbed, but yeah. I have a feeling Gelhardt would play. I don't know too much on Leeds, but if he's going to play, then yeah. That if you told me right now that Gelhardt gets 2 starts, in the double, I think it's fine. If he gets 2 starts and he plays 60 minutes in both, you'll take his 4 points all day long and run with them on the bench boost. Because if you say worst case scenario, your bench boost is going to be what? It'll be Gelhardt. It'll be probably Nketiah. It'll be because you'll probably start Dennis. It'll be Gelhardt, Nketiah, and Dewsbury Hall with Foster. You get 16 points out of that off the bench boost. That's literally just appearance points. You'll take that. Anything more than that, you're looking good. So yeah, it's just the Nketiah Gelhardt. That's where it can potentially go wrong, in my opinion, because Nketiah right now has his position, but only temporary, right? But if you wanted to, like I said, if you wanted to be safer, um, because uh, Chelsea they have Everton away in 35. Um, so you would assume Havertz is going to play that. So you play him in that, and then if you wanted to, you could take a -4 uh, going into that. The only thing is that your only Chelsea player would be Reece James. So, like I said, it has been not great in terms of his goal scoring. Yes, that is true. Yeah, I mean, if Nketiah is fully nailed, again, things can change in a couple of weeks, right? They can. But, yeah, right now, I would say that makes the most. That would seem fine. So if you think, then it would just be Gelhardt would be the kicker. Right? That, to me, would be the only one I'd be worried about. If things stay as it is now, because I don't think Nketiah should lose his place at all, because I think he was very, very good. He would be a great budget option. But again, like I said, things can change in 2 weeks. So rolling in 35 would definitely be like the play. And then if you felt like, oh, this might not work out, you still have the option to go Havertz down further to like a Martinelli or an Odegaard if you really needed to. If you wanted to stay in the same like kind of bracket for an Arsenal doubler. Gelhardt will probably get at least 2 points in 36, either sub or starting to take that. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, 14, because even if he gets just the 2 and the other ones get they're 4 points each, you're looking at 14 points, which isn't terrible, And you would think that Nketiah probably does well versus Leeds. You would think that probably Schmeichel keeps a clean sheet. I mean, not Schmeichel keeping a clean sheet. Foster might keep a clean sheet. Because, like, if you look at the double, Crystal Palace and Everton at home, maybe they keep a clean sheet in one of those. Because Watford are fighting too, so maybe they get something there. Nketiah plays Leeds. Leeds and Spurs. Maybe he gets something versus Leeds at home. You'd expect Arsenal probably do pretty well versus Leeds. Nketiah could be involved in that. And then Dewsbury Hall. I mean, if the people are saying, oh, he's just a placeholder or whatever. In this game so I watched the Everton Leicester game. And on the goal that they scored, basically the ball gets cut back by Maddison, and if Iheanacho basically he really tries to control it and messes up his touch, and it goes to Barnes and he scores. If Maddison had cut the ball back properly, it wouldn't have gone to Iheanacho, it wouldn't have gone to Barnes, it would have gone to Dewsbury Hall, who's on the penalty spot, who basically has the mouth of the goal to aim at. And he's in Dewsbury Hall, yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna you just gave me a good idea. It's the name for like the wildcard video. Dewsbury Hall, yeah. Because if Dewsbury Hall gets you an assist or something, you're laughing. That's the thing. You only need an assist, and you've already gone over 16 points if everyone gets their appearance points, and only Gelhardt gets just his 2 points, right? So, yeah, that would be quite funny. And the fixtures are good, so. But yeah, the team's looking good. Team's looking good. I will say though, because this was brought up on Planet FPL's podcast on Friday. This is just a note for down the line. So if Leicester beat Roma and move on to the Conference League final, there is a potential, because the Conference League final is midweek after the after Game Week 38. You have on the last day of the season, Leicester play. I think they just play somebody random. Yeah, Southampton at home. That game means basically nothing, right? There's a chance that you can have Dewsbury Hall if you need to play him. Schmeichel, Madison, any of these sorts of players that if they make it to the final, they're probably going to get rotated. I would even be surprised if Schmeichel got benched as well. So that's just something to keep an eye on. That's a possibility if they make it to the Europa Conference League final. Which would mean that you would have to play, either make a goalkeeper transfer, or you have to play Ben Foster. Ben Foster plays Chelsea on the last day of the season, away, which isn't ideal. So, yeah, you can hope that Roma wins, yeah. Jose Mourinho gets one over Brendan Rodgers. We'll see. But you'll know that dilemma beforehand. But it's just something to keep in mind, right? Whereas the likes of Man City players, yeah, they might get rotated, but they at least have, like a Man City or Liverpool are in the Champions League final, they at least have a week because they play on the Sunday and the Champions League final is the following Saturday. Whereas the Europa League will already have been done and dusted in the midweek in 37, which is only going to be West Ham. And then the Conference League is 3 days after on the Wednesday, so after 38. So just one to kind of keep an eye on. Because I've seen a few wildcard drafts getting the most money out of their goalkeepers and whatnot with Schmeichel and Foster. Which is why I've tried to exclusively make wildcard drafts with a Mendy or an Ederson or somebody like that in goal. Over the likes of a Ben Foster. I still have Schmeichel too, obviously, but in the event that situation were to happen, we could make that adjustment. Because the ideal scenario is you want to go into the last day of the season with having 2 free transfers if you can get it, unless you're like free hitting or something like that. So yeah. Right. I need to figure out what I'm doing with my team. And if you have any suggestions in the chat, that'd be great. So, we currently have Mendy in goal, which is a great doubler. We like that. Rudiger is injured and will be out for the West Ham game at least. So, just the Man United away fixture. Don't really like that too much. And I'm going to keep an eye on Twitter and refresh it and make sure that if there's anything... also, apparently Ericsson knows how to stop Kane and Son, so we'll see how that works. His quote was, "How do you stop these two, Kane and Son?" Ericsson says, "Easy. I won't tell you what I know." Nice. So... just gonna scroll down a bit, just see if there's anything anything of noteworthy. Nope, I don't see anything for now, at least. So we'll keep an eye on Twitter, just in case. How much do I have in the bank? Well, let's bring up the transfer. Oop, that's with I was messing around with some transfers before we went live. So we got 0.1 in the bank, right? So there's a couple of things I was exploring, right? We could just do plain and simple, which would be Alonso. Actually, let me see if I can. I wonder if FPL.team has updated, because I know last night it hadn't. I say last night, I mean only like 4 hours ago. It hadn't updated. Has it updated the prices? Yes, it has. Okay. So we'll go to that screen because you can see things better. So this is how the team currently is set up. I think I have Salah with the captaincy. We can do plain and simple, clean cut, Alonso in for Antonio Rudiger. It would just be for remember these transfers are all for just the 1 week, right? I don't think Alonso does have risk of rotation. I would agree. Potentially, but I think that just who's he gonna play there? Like, is he gonna play like Saul or somebody like that instead of Alonso? Possibly. If they go to a back four, I think playing Alonso could be bad. Thiago Silva, yeah, I think that could be an option. I mean, we can get both of them because they're around similar price. I just can't get Reece James in one, right? So that was option number 1. Option number 2 is, instead of Alonso, get Reece James, which we'd have to get rid of 0.2 million in the bank. And we could take a -4 to get rid of Smith Rowe and go for Anthony Elanga. And do that. Back 4 with Aspie, Thiago Silva, Chalobah, and James. Yeah, I'm not sure if he'll do a back 4 of that, per se. But we'll see. Madison to Mount. I have from a good source that, at least Sam Martin anyway, he's the source on Twitter for like all Leicester stuff, and he basically said like, yeah, Madison's gonna start and Barnes isn't. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. So I kind of want to keep Madison. He's got a home fixture. There's probably worse players to get rid of in my team though. So that's option number 2. Reece James and Elanga in for the injured Rudiger and Smith Rowe. And we would probably captain Salah in that instance. West Ham have injuries in defense, so you try to get some Chelsea attackers. I'm coming on to that in a second. If we wanted to go a little bit more bold, I'm not sure if I can do it with Reece James, but I'll try. So, instead of Elanga, we would have Smith Rowe. We could do Salah out. So these 2 next moves are like Salah out. Havertz. And then Che Adams to Ronaldo, but instead of Reece James, we would have to do Alonso or, like you said, Thiago Silva. That would be for -8. We'd probably captain Havertz. What does that get us? Well, it gets us an extra fixture for Ronaldo over Che Adams. It gets us an extra fixture for Havertz, who would be our captain anyway, probably, over Salah. And it would get the extra fixture with Alonso. So we'd be gaining 3 extra fixtures, but we'd be losing Salah. And it would mean we get some double game weekers. Rudiger to Delo, Kulu to Havertz. I think that's another option. So let's see if we can do that. So this would be, so that would be back, that'd be back to how we had it before. So Rudiger to Delo, and then it would be Kulusevski to Havertz. Yeah, I mean, we could do that. The only thing is does it really improve the position? Not sure it does. I think Havertz is probably the one, right? I don't think I want to do Reece James and Alonso. Maybe on the wild card if I knew like Ben Chilwell was back or something. So that would be double United, double Chelsea. And Havertz would probably be the captain with Salah as the vice captain. Probably. When are the games this week anyway? When did Chelsea play? Chelsea played before Liverpool. Okay. United play the opening fixture. Yikes. So my weekend could be ruined if United were to lose. So yeah, that's possible. Another option would be a -12. Now this is a very interesting -12. Very spicy -12. Very fun -12. This would be what I class as the hit and hope. So Rudiger to Reece James, which I like better than Alonso. Right? We need 0.2 million in the bank to be able to do it. Then, this is where things get interesting. So Salah, who would be our captain normally, we get the extra fixture out of Havertz, who would come in and be our captain. Right? Then we could get rid of Adams to bring in Ronaldo. And then if we wanted to take the additional -4, because we still have our United asset in there, we could get rid of Bruno Fernandes, and we could bring in Raheem Sterling. Havertz would be the captain. We'd play our 3 at the back, our 5 in midfield, and our 2 up front. That would be for -12. Took a -4 and did Madison and Rudiger out for Havertz and Alonso. Can I do the same thing? I'll have to check that. Smith Rowe to Elanga instead of Sterling. Can I do that? Let's see. So if I undo Smith Rowe to, yeah, that's doable. But then I wouldn't obviously have the upside of Sterling, who's like a bit of a differential. Plays Watford. But yeah, that would be triple United, which I'm not too keen about. But yeah, that is. I mean, that's something we can do as well. You think Man United win today? I bloody hope so. Do I captain Salah or Havertz? Says Ben. Well, I'll be able to tell you that or see that in just a second. Let's see. So if I, so I'm gonna reset this game week because I want to see if I can do the. So if I did Rudiger to, yeah. So I could also do Rudiger to Alonso, put Alonso in, get rid of Madison, but I'm, I have knowledge that he is potentially starting, and I cannot do Havertz. I would be 0.3 million short, so I can't do that, unfortunately. So let's take a look at the player's captain. So I've sorted. So this is our captaincy table, our normal captaincy table, and I've sorted by expected goal involvement. And this over the last 4 matches. So you can see at the top is Cristiano Ronaldo, followed by Kai Havertz, Timo Werner, and Mo Salah. So since Havertz has 2 cracks at the whip, I think that Havertz is probably the best captain. Like, if I had to order, say my top captains, let's actually get a notepad up because I did this last time, and I actually quite enjoyed it. So if I had to, I'm just gonna maneuver this. Actually, we'll just leave it there, but I'll come back to it. I think if you have Havertz, I think he has to be your captain no matter what, because got rested in the last game. You would assume he's going to play these next 2 games for sure. It seems on the inkling that he is going to, and the stats show that he is top of the expected goal involvement table, barring Cristiano Ronaldo. Ronaldo's is a little bit inflated because he scored a hat-trick in his in the last game versus Norwich. Havertz is getting some decent shots inside the penalty box. He's had quite a few big chances, created a few chances, looking good. Number 2, I would say, if you have Timo Werner, Reece James, and Alonso, I don't think you captain them over Salah. And then I would say other Chelsea would be 3rd. 4th, I would put probably like Ronaldo maybe, and then like Man City mid. So I think this is how I'm seeing it. So be Havertz at the top, Salah, another Chelsea player, so like a Mount, Werner, and then I have Ronaldo and then a Man City mid. That's how I see it. Saw something in the chat, so let me just maneuver this off the screen so we can still have the table on the screen. What's up, dude? What's up? Hope you're well and can do a wildcard draft with the intention of Ben boosting for 36 for us, please. I can do. If I had to do it this week, I can do one really quick. So this is my team here. If I was doing a wildcard draft, so Ramsdale would be Schmeichel. Vertiger would be Reece James. Ben White would be Laporte. Robertson would be Alexander-Arnold. Smith Rowe would be Saka. Bruno Fernandes would be Diogo Jota. Madison would be Dewsbury Hall. Adams would be Pookie. Weghorst would be Watkins. Aït-Nouri would be maybe Alonso. Maybe I can squeeze Diaz in there. Let's go Alonso just because he's more fun. Yeah. So that would be probably the bench boost team. If you don't have the funds, maybe you can do like Dennis to Nketiah, assuming he keeps his place. Kulusevski can also be downgraded to the likes of like a Odegaard or a Martinelli if you wanted to go there as well. If you need a little bit extra money. I don't particularly like the Foster versus a the Foster versus or the Foster and Schmeichel draft because of the things I said previously, or potentially Schmeichel might not play the last day of the season if they're in the Conference League final because they only have 3 days rest before that if they were to make it. But we know that problem beforehand, but you won't know it before. You'll know before. You won't know before. You have to wild card in 35. So yeah, that would be the wild card, and what it looks like on the bench boost would be something like this. So you'd have Mendy would play over Schmeichel. This is assuming the double goes into 36. You play Reece James over Pookie. You would play Alonso over Dewsbury Hall. And Nketiah would, in theory, be ahead of Pookie. And that's what your team would look like. So you'd have 15 doublers because City would double. The only thing is you wouldn't have Kane or Son. And you wouldn't have a City attacker. You would have triple Chelsea though, which again you can always swap out. You know, if you have extra money, like I said, you can do. Or if you wanted to, you could downgrade Kulusevski and upgrade Alonso to a third City defender if you wanted to go that way. Then the following week, if you wanted to, if you feel that Jota's going to get rotated, you could do Jota out to Coutinho if you wanted an extra doubler in there. And then on the final day of the season, you can do whatever. So you would play Schmeichel over Mendy. You would probably play Dewsbury Hall over Alonso or Laporte. I'm not too sure. One of them. We'll just say Laporte. And then on the final day of the season, you would have you would stick Mendy in goal. You would put Laporte back in over Dewsbury Hall. If you think Nketiah is going to play, you can play Nketiah over Watkins, and then you can go like Coutinho to any Man City mid. Like if you think Riyad Mahrez, as an example, is going to play on the last day of the season or something, you could chuck him in there. So yeah, something like that, Zarty, I would think, would probably be okay. Obviously, there are some innate risks. That would be the fact that Alonso is potentially a risk. Nketiah, potentially a risk, but as it stands now, not so much. Yeah, that's pretty much it, to be honest. So fairly straightforward, I think. But yeah, having Nketiah is quite valuable actually. In that setup. And this is if you want to go double Chelsea fans. Like I said, the only caveats that you don't have is you don't have a Son, you don't have a Kane, and you don't have a Chelsea or a City midfielder. Everything else is fine. You can also easily go if you wanted to. If this could be a City midfielder, this could be a Phil Foden, right? That could be a Phil Foden. You have triple City, and if you wanted to, you could go instead of Alonso, you could go Joel Matip, or you can go Robertson, but you'd have to get the extra money, and you could do that by doing Kulusevski to like a Odegaard or is Odegaard like OE or something? Oh, he's got like a special O or something. That's weird. To like Odegaard or or Martinelli or somebody like that. Reece James, Vernon, Kai Havertz all gone up by 0.1. Yeah, the site reflects it. Yeah, but yeah, that would be like the wildcard draft. Right. So we were back. We were talking about captaincy. So yeah, this is what I think captaincy wise. I'm just gonna flash it up on the screen here, the notepad. I think Havertz is probably the best captaincy shout this week. Just because he's almost nailed to start both games now. Um, second on the expected goal involvement table. And it's been looking really, really good. You also get 2 bites of the cherry. Chelsea usually bounce back quite well. They're playing West Ham, who haven't been looking great either. And if we look at captaincy against teams that this is last 4 matches, this is like the whipping boys table as it were. So like teams that have not the greatest defenses. West Ham is fourth worst, which is not something that you would expect from a David Moyes team. Really, really prioritizing Europe potentially. Man United have been not as, or they've been better in terms of XG conceded, but Man United still concede goals, and I expect Chelsea to beat them as well. So that is something to watch as well. And if you look at the team's attacking data, XG non-penalty, Chelsea second, whereas the likes of Man United second last. West Ham's attack is still decent, so maybe potentially captaining a defender could be potentially potent, or potentially, they might concede one, but which is why Havertz could potentially do really, really well. We're going to introduce our new table here now as well. This is called penalty box threat. So what I've done is I've ordered it by expected goal involvement, and we have the penalty area touches involved, shots inside the 6-yard box, shots inside the box, and then big chances as well. So this is showing where the players are getting their chances. So if we look at Ronaldo's getting the most penalty area touches among all these players over the last 4 matches. Havertz is not getting anywhere near as many as Timo Werner. Salah's getting a lot of penalty area touches. But in terms of shots inside the 6-yard box, which is where you potentially could be scoring, Havertz has 1, Werner has 2, Diogo Jota has 2. So the stats do show that they are getting chances inside the area, which is something that you like to see. Havertz has the most big chances out of any player in the last 4 matches as well. So that would also favor Havertz, that he is getting the big chances. They are coming inside the penalty area. He is getting some shots, or a shot at least over the last 4 matches, in and around the 6-yard box, which is where you want him to be involved. I do think it is very, very close with Timo Werner and Salah. It's just I'm not entirely sure that Timo Werner starts both games. Wouldn't be fully convinced like I would be Havertz, who was rested last game, and who almost certainly come back in this one. So, yeah, very interesting table. Very interesting table to potentially look at. And then we'll also look here at the goals imminent table. So these are players that are potentially going to score sometime soon. So we got some interesting players on there. So Antonio, not really a player that we're looking at the moment. Aubameyang plays for Barcelona. Mopé, no one's going to be looking at him. Jay Rodriguez plays Wolves. Maxwell Cornet, obviously missed a penalty. Harry Kane, so those who are selling Harry Kane, do so with caution. Ings and Watkins potentially could be good there for the double coming up in 36 and 37. Rashika, no one's really going to go there. Bukayo Saka, even though he has scored a penalty, still on the table. Coutinho, Mason Greenwood, obviously he's not playing for United due to his circumstances at the moment, and he might not play football ever again, but he'll be on this table probably indefinitely until the season's over. Ivan Toney, Mbeumo, I believe they play Leeds this week, if I remember correctly. No, they play Spurs. Sorry. They play Leeds next week, I think. Alonso, so potentially could be involved. He's built up a decent bit of XG on penalty. He's had quite a few goal attempts. And then Martin Odegaard, someone who kind of fluctuates in and out of the kind of getting chances at goal. So yeah, Very, very interesting stuff. I think I've kind of set my mind on the fact that I want Havertz this week because I think he is the best captaincy shout, and I'm willing to take a hit to make that happen, right? So, let's just reset this. Reset that. I'll just refresh the whole page. Why not? So this is how the team would look if I were to do this. So just for note, we have around 12, less than 12 minutes till the FPL deadline. So we do have some time. I'll remove the captaincy notepad off the screen. So I really like the prospect of Sterling this week. I think Havertz is the best captaincy shout. And I think if you're going to pick a United player, I think Ronaldo over Fernandes is definitely the one. But Ronaldo could, I mean, United could definitely do well against Arsenal. And they do have 2 bites at the cherry. Question is, does Fernandes outscore Sterling this week versus Arsenal and Chelsea when Sterling has Watford? Let's go back to the captaincy table and see where Sterling is. Sterling's right up there in the matches that he's played. Bruno Fernandes, not so much. Let's see penalty box threat. Bruno Fernandes, way down. And Sterling's only just behind Salah. He gets very similar number of penalty area touches. So I definitely like Reece James. Mind you, I could go. So here's the catch, right? So if I go Reece James for Antonio Rudiger, he would come in for Ben White. Mendy comes in for Ramsdale. If we were to get rid of Salah and bring in Havertz, this would be just for the 1 week. One thing I also have to note is if I do sell Salah, I do so by having to pay an extra 0.1 to get him back. So that is of note. Same with Antonio Rudiger. I'd have to pay an extra 0.1 to get him back if I wanted him. Excuse me. Yeah, 0.1 ain't much, but I've seen drafts where I've had 0.1. 0.1 off. Right. So Salah would come out for Kai Havertz. That would give us the funds to do Che Adams up to Ronaldo. And if we wanted to, if we didn't want Reece James, right? And we just wanted to stop there at Alonso. And that would be our triple Chelsea. We could do that. Which would be for -8. The -12 would be, do we want the upgrade of Reece James over Alonso and have Sterling instead of Fernandes? That's basically what we're looking at. So is Alonso plus Fernandes, obviously Bruno wouldn't be the captain, we'd have Havertz as the captain. I'd probably put Ronaldo as vice captain, I guess. The question would be, is Fernandes plus Alonso better than Reece James plus Raheem Sterling with a -4 point deficit? I think it's close. I think it is very close. If we, instead of having Alonso, we had Reece James, and instead of Smith Rowe, we went we went to Alanga for the actual minus 12. So the minus 4 would be you'd basically be playing the additional minus 4 would either you would have to play against. So it'd be Alonso and Fernandez versus James and Sterling minus 4 points. With Smith Rowe in both of those. So it'd be Smith Rowe, Alonso, and Bruno versus Smith Rowe, James, and Sterling minus 4 points, or James, Alanga, and Fernandez minus 4 points. Who probably does the most damage there? If United versus Arsenal is going to be a shootout, that'd be interesting. Because that would potentially help out. Let's see. Is there any team news for Manchester United is the question. Because that would be ideal. Don't see anything as of yet. Apparently, Harry Maguire is on the bench. Let's see. So apparently Harry Maguire is on the bench. So I don't see anything else at the moment. So I'm going to need to probably make these changes. Take one last quick scan. One last quick scan. I see a lot of people activating the wall cards and all kinds of stuff. All kinds of things happening. Okay. Right. Let's make a decision now. Okay. Let's do it. I think I'm going to go with Sterling. It's a one-off punt and could be quite good, I think. Plus, I think there's a chance that Bruno could play in a deeper role. Very possible he could play in a deeper role. And if Ronaldo's on the pitch, he's going to have penalties, right? I think that's how it's going to go. Yeah, apparently people aren't getting the team leak, which is actually a good thing, to be honest. The team is immediately right. All right. All right, let's do it. So, what are we gonna do? We're gonna do. I'm gonna go with the full guns blazing. Salah to Havertz. Adams to Ronaldo. Nope, not Madison. Fernandes to Sterling. Yeah, definitely gotta hurry. It's the Fernandes versus like Sterling versus like Fernandes Alanga thing. I'm gonna go with Sterling. Let's do it. So that'd be James for Rudiger, Havertz for Salah, Sterling for Fernandes, Ronaldo for Adams. Yeah, okay. Let's go. Full guns blazing. Send it. We'll put Reece James vice captain. Maybe something like that. Do I have time to organize the team? Potentially, but I don't want to risk it. Yeah, I'm not gonna risk that. I only have a minute left. Right, we did it. Oh man, that could come to bite me. I have for some reason I just have the suspicion now that Bruno's gonna do well, but he can play in a deeper role. But we'll see. We full sent it. I'm just taking a picture of the team so I have it so I can post it on Twitter afterwards. Yeah, so we're wildcarding next week. So if anyone's wondering why we're doing something so crazy, it's because we're wildcarding next week. Because I think Sterling's a good differential this week. Havertz captain, have to back him over Salah. Ronaldo in for Bruno. Gotta back the boy. So yeah, that should be the deadline. So, yep, there it is. We've done it. Minus 12. It's gonna be painful, but when you boil it down, so I'm gonna put up the notepad. So basically, those are the captains, but it would be, yeah, what it comes down to is Salah v Havertz in a straight up battle. You have Ronaldo -4 v Fernandes, because you're looking at your two United assets straight up. Sterling v Che Adams, with Sterling with a -4 deficit. And then you have Reece James -4 v Rudiger, one game. I'll do this way. 0.5 Antonio Rudiger. So that's kind of what you're looking at. Because that would have been this is how you would basically break it down. So yeah, Havertz would get 2 fixtures versus Salah's 1. Ronaldo -4 versus Fernandes in a straight up battle. Sterling -4 versus Che Adams. And then James -4 versus only 1 fixture of Rudiger as well. So you gain a fixture on Reece James. So it's effectively a -2, you would say. That's what you would say then. Sterling -4 over Adams this week. I'll take that all day long. Because I think there's even a chance that Adams doesn't play versus Brighton. Ronaldo -4 versus Fernandes. That could be a bit of a bit of a flip-flop, but recently we've seen that Bruno can get dropped deeper into games, which isn't ideal. And then Salah versus Havertz captain, the whole Havertz gate thing. But at least this time, when it was back before, when Salah scored a hat-trick and Havertz in a 7-0 game versus Norwich got nothing, Havertz has 2 fixtures, Salah has just the 1. There is also potential that Salah could get rotated. There's mumblings of that Liverpool could rotate, so that was the main option there. The other option was to keep Fernandes. So it would have been we would have kept Fernandes instead of, it would have been it would have been like Alanga -4 versus Adams. Would have been like Alanga -4 versus Emil Smith Rowe. And it'd be Ronaldo -4 versus Adams would have been the other one. Do I think Alanga even gets 4 points this week? I'm not too sure. So it could be a bit of a shootout. But anyway, we digress. So we'll get rid of that. And we'll move over to the Fantasy Football Scout screen because we did use a lot of the tables and they're fantastic. So we got to give them a shout out. So if you haven't looked at Fantasy Football Scout, make sure to check in the About section or in the description below. If you're watching this over on YouTube, we do all of our streams over on Twitch. So make sure to come join us for them. They're really, really fun and hectic, as you can see. And it's going to be hectic next week because I'm going to be on a wild card. So yeah, make sure to check out their members area. We just created a new table. Excuse me, the penalty box threat. So yeah, looks very, very interesting. Make sure to check it out. As well as you create your own tables. Check out some heat maps. Look at the season ticker. All that sort of stuff. Fantastic stuff that the Fantasy Football Scout members there have. They also have a season, preseason discount as well. So keep on the lookout for that when FPL comes back around next season. But for now, let's move over to the big screen. So, thank you all for joining me for the deadline stream. Make sure to like, favorite, subscribe, follow, share, all that good stuff. And yeah, crazy -12. But on paper, looks like it could pay off, so we shall see. But until the next one, take care.